All right. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I
Yes.
can.
Okay, thank you. So let's start our meeting today. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. Hello, everyone. I'm Aulia Ajhar from Group 2, and I'm going to be the moderator for today's meeting. The topic is about correlational research. And our group member consists of 7 people. There is Hana, Fahad, Dewi, Sandra, Salsa, and Amelia. So without any further ado, I invite the first presenter. Johanna, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, moderator. To which two variables are related. Okay, I repeat it. The correlation means association, but it more precisely about a measure of the extent to which two variables are related. Or it could be, as on the screen, the research which investigates or finds the possibility of relationships between okay, the research which investigates or finds the possibility of relationships between only two variables without any effort to influence, controlling, or manipulating the other variable. And this research is designed to determine the degree of different relationships in a population through the use of correlational statistics. Next slide. Okay, basically, there are two basic purposes of correlational research. The first one is explanatory studies. That is to explain or describe human behavior. The researchers often investigate a number of variables they believe that related to a more complex variable, and the unrelated variables dropped from further consideration. Also, most and the purpose number two is prediction studies. That is to predict possible outcomes. It predicts a score on one variable if a score on the other variables is known, and it determines the predictive validity of measuring instruments. And then the variable here is predictor variable that is used to make the prediction, and criterion variable that is about which the prediction is made. Also, the variables here are only observed with no manipulation or intervention by researchers. In addition, correlation research is aimed to test the strength of association between variables based on the correlation coefficient. Next slide. Okay, thank you. Now it's about characteristics. As I mentioned earlier, the research has no effort to influence any extraneous variable. Thus, the researchers are not allowed to influence or manipulate the variables. And the other characteristics are not determines the causal relationship between the variables, not require too many research subjects, as Airy said that as many as 50 to 100 research subjects are considered sufficient. And it refers to the types of research questions asked, such as how the data is presented and the types of data analysis technique used to answer the questions of the research conducted. And the last is the weight point of the researcher's attention is clearly aimed at the correlated variables. It's clear for me, and the next point will be presented by the others. Thank you.
I'm sorry, guys. It seems like there is a connecting problem.
Hello, is my voice clear?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this slide, I would like to explain about types of correlation research. There are three main points of these types. The first one is positive correlation analysis, PCA. The second one is negative correlation analysis, NCA, and the last one is no correlation or zero correlation analysis, ZCA. um, posit- Positive correlation research is an important strategy that uses two significantly correlated variables to see if an event adjustment in one causes a similar transformation in the other, or both variables change in the same direction. For instance, uh, as we can see the diagrams, if our height increase, also the weight of our body will go up. And another sample is like uh, di saat kenaikan upah karyawan naik, gitu, dapat menyebabkan juga peningkatan biaya produk. And then negative correlation research is a study strategy that involves two numerically opposing characteristics, at which an increase in one variable has an opposite reaction or a drop from the other. For instance, if the price of products or service rises, the prices decreases, and inversely. This is an example of negative correlation. And another example for negative is as coffee consumption increases, tiredness decreases. And the last one is zero correlation analysis. Is a method of analysis in which there is no connection between variables, like coffee coffee consumption is not correlated with height of our body. Thank you. That's all from me. Please, for the next presenter, time is yours.
All right. The next one, there is techniques in correlation research. There are three techniques. The first one is product moment correlation or person. It measures of the strength of a linear association between two variables and is denoted by R. Basically, a person product moment correlation attempts to draw a line of best fit through the data of two variables. And the person correlation indicates how far all these data points are to this line of best fit. For an instance, how well the data point fit this new model or line of best fit. For example, the correlation between the use of study time each day with students' achievement. Another example is the correlation between years of work and monthly income. The second one, there's candle and experimental correlation. Uh, if the data is ordinal scale, the appropriate analytic technique is candle and experimental correlation. However, it is not uncommon for researchers to have various data scales. For example, the independent variable is on the scale of interval or ratio data, while the dependent variable is on ordinal data scale. If one of the variables has an ordinary scale or the other has an interval or ratio scale, then the interval or ratio scale must be converted to an ordinal scale by compiling categories or classification. The Spearman rank or Spearman row test is a non-parametric test to measure the suitability of data source from two different subjects. The difference with Candle Tau is Candle Tau uses data from the same subject or also called a partner. And the last one, there is contingency coefficient correlation. It is an analytical technique to determine whether there is correlation in nominal scale data only. For example, the correlation between the choice of majors with hobbies or correlation between education level and favorite book read. Uh, that's it from me. To the next presenter.
All right, next I will explain about the steps in correlation research. Here I take the example of person correlation testing in SPSS, which tests two variables, namely X and Y. In this type of correlation, it aims to test the closeness of the relationship between a variable, which is expressed by the correlation coefficient, whose symbol is R. We will determine whether X and Y are positively correlated, negatively correlated, or may not be correlated. Next slide, please. All right, let's go straight to the first method. We move to the variable view in SPSS. As you can see, there is a name there. We change the name in the first line to variable X and the name in the second line to variable Y. Then we make the decimal to 0. Well, then there are the labels. We are free to give any names, for example, students' grades for variable X and number of students for variable Y. But here I give the name religiosity for variable X and aggressiveness for variable Y. We just need to change this aspect that rest, just leave it like that. All right, next slide. And then the second step, we move to the data view. Here, the variable X and Y are listed. Then we just need to enter the data. I use 10 respondent data here. Next slide. And next, the third way to test the correlation, we just click Analyze, click Correlate, and click Bivariate. Next slide. Alright, the first step, a display like this will appear. We move the religiosity and aggressiveness in the left column to the right column and make sure that the person to tailed and significant correlation flags are checked. Then click OK. Next slide. And the last step, after clicking OK earlier, a table of correlation result for the variable x and variable y will appear. From here, we can know whether the relationship is positive, negative, or uncorrelated. Let's analyze. You can see the second line of two-tailed signification. For religiosity, the significance is 0.16. And for aggressiveness, it is also 0.16. The result is the same, right? I'm sorry, guys. It is my signal is unstable. I will repeat it. And furthermore, for the percent correlation of religiosity, the result is 734. As well as for aggressiveness, the result is also 734. We note here there is no minus sign, which means negative. So the form of the relationship between these two variables is positive. So we can conclude from the result of this variable test is that the two variables have a positive correlation. All right, that's all for me. The next material will be explained with my friend. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next material is about data collection methods in correlational research. The first is naturalistic observation. So this method is commonly used in psychology. It is a method that involves observing a person's behavior shown in their environment and over a certain period. So in this method, the researchers observe directly the natural pattern shown by person being studied. And the second is archival data. Archival data is a method that involves information that has been collected about a variable in the study. So this data collection method uses data that has been collected so that it can be analyzed directly. The third is test. It is a data collection technique that is carried out by giving a series of questions or assignments and other tools to the subject whose data is needed. Tests are commonly used in quantitative research to measure the attitudes, personality, self perceptions, aptitude, and performance of research participants. And last is a questionnaire. It is a data collection instrument containing a list of questions filled out by each research participants. Researchers use questionnaire to obtain information about the thoughts, feelings, attitudes, beliefs, values, perceptions, personality, and behavioral intentions of research participants. That's all I can explain. I give it to the next presenter. Thank you.
All right, guys. You can continue the presentation by relog to the Zoom. So you may leave first and continue to join.
Hello everyone. I think the moderator is reconnecting to the signal. So I would like to present about the materials about validity of correlational research. First of all, I'm so sorry guys if my group has many troubles in the signal because it is raining here. And yeah, as you can see on the screen, here is about validity of correlational research, and there are internal validity and also external validity. And internal validity here is the degree of confidence that the relationship you are testing is not influenced by other factors or variables. And internal validity here refers to the extent or degree to which a study can be dismissed or alternate explanations can be made of the results obtained. And you need to remember that a study is said to be valid only if it depicts what it aimed to. And then on the other hand, there is external validity, which means the extent to which your results can be generalized to other contexts. So the external validity of a study as the context is the extent to which you can generalize your findings to the different population or settings, I mean different groups of people, situations, or measures. And the point here is that the correlational research is often higher in external validity than experimental research. This is because the experimental research addresses directional and third variable problems through manipulation and controlling for external variables through random assignment. As Cram-Errol claimed, if the average score on the dependent variable changes across conditions, it is likely that these changes are the results of the independent variable. And it means that you can confidently draw conclusions about the causal. On the other hand, correlational research is said to have the lowest internal validity because nothing is manipulated or controlled by the researchers. So if the average score on the dependent variable changes across conditions, it could be because of the independent variable, but it could be because of other reasons. For example, the direction of causality is reversed, or there is a third variable causing the differences in both the independent and dependent variables. So the results are more likely to reflect relationship that exist in the real world, and it means that you can confidently generalize your conclusion to other populations or settings. And maybe that's all from me. For the next material will be presented by the next presenter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So please, next slide. Yeah, I'm really sorry if I turn off my camera because my signal is unstable. Okay, this is advantage of correlational research. For the first is neither variable goes through a manipulative process. That means when we choose a correlational research to review variables, then neither one goes through a manipulative process. It is the distinctive features of this method. Researchers could observe participants in public setting or closed environment because it doesn't matter where or how the variables get measured. So the second is two different data collection methods are available with correlational research. There are two options in this point. For the first is a, a type of what's it field research where those responsible for the work might observe situation in real life scenario and as possible. So the second option is relies on the use of collect data from previous research effort. And the third is the result from correlational research are more applicable. It means a correlational research study occurs in real life situation The data that get read from this work is typically more applicable to every encounters. So the fourth is it offers a beneficial starting position for research. It means when a correlational research study begins to look at specific relationship or
I'm sorry, guys. Amelia is in the waiting room, so maybe you will wait for a moment. Thank you.
okay guys, I really sorry. So for the fourth is it offers a beneficial starting position for research. It means when a correlational research study begins to look at specific relationship or phenomena to see if connections are present, then the variables provide an excellent starting position to begin the review. So for the fifth is researchers can determine the direction and strength of each relationship. It means the variables that get studied with correlational research help us to find the direction and strength of each relationship. This so next is a survey method is helpful in correlational research. And the last one is the result of a correlational research study are easy to classify. Correlational research study use what is called the correlation coefficients to measure the strength of the relationship between the variables. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, now we are going to disadvantage of correlational research. They are, for the first is correlational research only uncovers relationships. The benefits of a correlational research study is that it can uncover a relationship that may have not been previously known. What it does not provide is a conclusive reason for why that connection exist in the first place. All we can do with the information is study the connection between phenomena to see how each one influence the other. Knowing that one chain can create additional alternations can be beneficial when looking for unique outcomes, but it fails to answer the question of why that is sometimes necessary for researchers. So the second is it won't determine what variable have the most influence. Its mean can help to determine the connection that variables share with a specific phenomenon. What this work cannot procedure is information regarding which variable is responsible for influencing the other. So the third is correlational research can be a time-consuming process. Although the benefits of correlational research study can be tremendous, it can also to be expensive and time-consuming to achieve at outcomes. The only way to collect data is through direct interaction or observation of the variable in questions. That means the various scenario must receive look before it is possible to determine an accurate coefficients. So the fourth is extraneous variable might interfere with the informations. So the last one is outcomes can be adversely affected by the quality of the work. So the quality of the work performed during a correlational research study will determine the usefulness of the data. If the survey question don't provide enough or a trigger to generate information, then the time and money spent on the effort get worse. So even when there is some flexibility in the structure of the study, a lack of reserve, what is it, representation in the selected sample can produce in result then could lead researchers down in incorrect path of study. That's all being from me. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you to all the presenters, and I would like to take over the moderator because she has a trouble in in the signal. So now we open the question and answer session. If you have any question for us, you can raise your hand and say your name and then your group. Thank you. All right, maybe for the first question from Terayani, time is yours.
All right, thank you, Salsa. My name is Raihani Fitri Salsabila. I am from group 3, and I would like to ask a point that has been explained by Amelia in the advantages of correlational research. Point 2. Uh, advantages. The advantages. Nah, okay. It said that two different data collection methods are available with correlational research. I want to make it clear. Does it mean that we can use two different data collection methods in one correlational research, such as we can use test and then wait a minute, archival data in one correlational research, for example. All right, that's from me. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Teroyani, for your question. And maybe we can open the second question from Rizky, and for my group who want to answer, maybe after Rizky. Rizky, time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Muhammad Rizky Maulana. My student's number is 20 21 22 073. Besides using to investigate the correlation between the variables, are there the other uses of correlational research? And can you give the real example of types of correlational research, such as positive, negative, and zero correlation? Because I still didn't understand about it. You can use bahasa maybe to make it clear for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Rizky, for the question. And maybe for all of you who have the question for us, maybe you can wait for the answer. Thank you.
I want to try to answer Teh Rayhani's question. So, let me explain it in bahasa Indonesia. So, jadi betul bahwa correlational research ini bisa memakai dua data collection methods yang berbeda. Kami menemukan contoh penelitian yang berjudul pengaruh motivasi dan minat terhadap prestasi siswa pada mata diklat keselamatan dan kesehatan kerja di SMK Negeri 1 Sedayu. Jadi, penelitian ini mencari pengaruh dari motivasi dan minat terhadap prestasinya. Nah, motivasi dan minat ini bisa diukur menggunakan
angket atau questionnaire. Sedangkan prestasinya atau kemampuan siswanya ini bisa diukur menggunakan tes. Jadi berdasarkan penelitian tersebut, kita bisa mengambil kesimpulan bahwa correlational research ini bisa memakai dua data collection method yang berbeda. Seperti itu mungkin.
Alright, thank you Sandra for the answer, and I got it.
All right, thank you, Sandra, for your answer. And maybe Terayani, your question is answered by Sandra. And for now, maybe I would like to try to answer the question from Rizky. So Rizky asked about contoh nyata ya, apa bisa dijelaskan lagi menggunakan bahasa begitu ya tentang jenis-jenis korelasi positif dan juga negatif, begitupun yang zero. Jadi sebenarnya secara sederhana korelasi positif ini memang mencerminkan dua hubungannya itu searah. Jadi kalau misalnya ketika dua variabel berhubungan dengan satu sama lain, jadi bisa dikatakan ketika salah satu variabel tersebut meningkat, maka variabel yang satunya meningkat. Misalnya ada penelitian yang apa namanya? Astagfirullahaladzim, hilap dikala. Ada penelitian yang mengecek hubungan antara motivasi siswa dan juga prestasi belajar. Nah, ternyata setelah dilakukan penelitian, ketika si peneliti ini menemukan bahwa ketika motivasi belajar siswa meningkat, maka prestasi belajarnya itu ikut meningkat di kelasnya. Maka contoh dari penelitian tersebut dapat dikategorikan sebagai korelasi positif, di mana ketika variabel X-nya naik, maka variabel Y-nya naik. Begitupun misalnya ternyata ditemukan juga ada kasus siswa yang memang motivasi belajarnya turun sehingga prestasi di kelasnya pun menurun. Artinya ketika variabel X-nya turun, maka variabel Y-nya turun. Begitu. Kemudian untuk yang korelasi negatif ini berkebalikan dari yang tadi korelasi positif. Misalnya ada hubungan tentang apa namanya ya? Tingkat ekonomi siswa, hubungan tingkat ekonomi siswa dengan prestasi belajar misalnya. Nah, terus ternyata si peneliti ini menemukan bahwa ada siswa yang memang kurang mampu tetapi prestasi di kelasnya masih hebat-hebat saja. Beliau bisa bersaing dengan mereka yang memang berasal dari keluarga yang mampu. Artinya, hasil yang ditemukan oleh peneliti tersebut termasuk ke dalam korelasi negatif, di mana hubungan variabel X dan Y tidak searah. Ketika tadi variabel X yang memang menandakan bahwa siswa yang berekonomi rendah itu berada misalnya turun, apa namanya diagramnya, dan ternyata prestasinya tetap naik meskipun ternyata si ekonominya itu turun, sedangkan yang kaya pun tidak bisa, maksudnya bukan tidak bisa ya, tidak selalu berada di atas, tidak bisa dibandingkan dengan mereka yang perekonomiannya menengah ke bawah misalnya gitu. Artinya si variabel X dan Y-nya tidak sejalan. Ketika X-nya naik, maka Y-nya turun. Ketika Y-nya naik, maka X-nya turun. Sedangkan untuk yang korelasi, yang tidak ada korelasi atau yang zero correlation itu tidak ada korelasi atau tidak ada hubungannya sama sekali. Misalnya hubungan antara apa ya? Misalnya hubungan antara apa ya namanya? Misalnya hubungan antara kepemilikan kendaraan dengan siswa yang sekolah misalnya, berapa banyak siswa yang sekolah. Ternyata peneliti tidak menemukan hubungan antara itu. Ternyata masih banyak di sekolah itu ditemukan banyak siswa yang memiliki kendaraan ataupun yang tidak. Artinya dari hasil penelitian tersebut si peneliti itu tidak memiliki hubungan yang sistematis, tidak memiliki hubungan yang sama sekali tidak ada hubungan yang digambarkan baik itu secara deskriptif ataupun secara diagramnya. Artinya zero correlation ini termasuk ke dalam penelitian yang memang hasilnya itu bisa disebutkan nihil lah, tidak ada hubungan yang terkait antara variabel X dan Y. Mungkin begitu Rizky.
Oke, terima kasih banyak atas penjelasannya Salsa. Dapat dimengerti.
Okay, thank you. Maybe the others from my group. if you have any other answer, if you want to add the other answer for the question, you can open your mic. Okay, guys, maybe there is no other answers for my group. So I would like to close this presentation because maybe this is the end of our presentation. So before I close this presentation, I want to apologize if we are making mistakes, and I'm so sorry because our group has many troubles in the signal. So banyak apa namanya banyak diamnya tadi selama presentasi. And thank you so much for listening and for your nice attention. Hopefully you can understand this presentation and get some points from this presentation. Once again, thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Thank you.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.